They leave professional platform like LinkedIn and they are busy TikToking, they are busy Instagramming and living where a platform where they can come in contact with professionals that can change their lives.
On today's edition of Unpopular Opinion, I have the privilege and honor to be hosting a remarkable leader, a visionary, and a relentless youth advocate, Honorable Remy, who is commonly known as Job Creation Addict, with over 20 years of experience in both public, private, and non-profit sector. He has dedicated his life towards helping young people to identify and unleash their potential. Honorable Remy has built a community of over 20,000 young entrepreneurs across Africa. As an executive director of Ugumba Leadership Center in Nigeria, Honorable Remy has spearheaded initiatives that led to the establishment of over 5,000 startup businesses across Nigeria and Africa. Academically, he holds an executive MBA from Quantic School of Business and Technology. He also holds MSc in Leadership and Governance from prestigious Abuja Leadership Center in Nigeria. Please stay tuned as we'll be discussing his remarkable journey in youth development and how his mentorship program is helping to prepare the next generation of African leaders. But before we turn the platform over to our guest, I want you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel so that whenever I post similar contents like this, you'll be amongst the first people that will be notified. Today's video is proudly sponsored by Magnite Clothing Brand. If you are living in Europe or any part of the world and you need African clothing similar to the one that I'm wearing in this video, you can simply check them up on their Instagram page. The link is in the description of this video. Honorable Remy, you are welcome to the Unpopular Opinion and the floor is open.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed Sharif. Thank you for inviting me. My journey started a long time ago while I was fresh from the university. The year I went to do my national youth service, that was where I started my journey into the development sector. There, as a youth corper, I founded what is called the African Youth Development Foundation. And by the grace of God, the same year I finished service, I got support from the United States Agency for International Development, to do work, with young people in Nigeria. We implemented a peace building project, that helps to stabilize the democracy. In 1999, 2000, Nigeria just returned back to democracy. So that project, funded by the United States Agency for International Development Office for Transition Initiatives, was aimed at helping to stabilize, the democratic system in the country. And we needed to work with young people to equip them with peace and leadership skills that was needed for that purpose. That was the beginning of my story. And by the grace of God, from then I continued, the work I started in the development sector and got also involved with government. I got appointed into government, as a technocrat to help the government do a number of things. The first was my appointment as secretary to the Ohaji Obema Local Government Council. As young as I was then, I was given the mandate, to serve as the chief political advisor to the executive chairman of the local government council. And in that role, I was also the secretary of the highest decision-making body in that council. It is called Finance and General Purposes Committee. I was secretary. I was also the secretary of the local government security committee. Where you have all the security agencies being represented. You have the traditional rulers from the various communities also represented, and the members of the Legislative Council. I was also the secretary of that committee. At that age, I got exposed to public administration, government administration, and that continued. So with the work I was doing at my NGO, the Youth Development Foundation, I worked with USAID, like I said. I also did some work with DFID made. We also did some work with the Imo State government where we trained principals from all the secondary schools in Imo State, plus all the directors of education in Imo State that year. Very funny. If you had seen me addressing them, you will laugh because I was looking so small. Addressing big men and women from across the states. So I think that's the grace of God. So after that, I got into government again, and by the grace of God, I served as the Director General of the Imo State Directorate for Employment and Job Sector. And there, I also got involved working with young people. And that is the beginning of what I am currently doing now, working to empower young people who have businesses that they are growing, or those who are interested in social enterprises. Now, the reason for this is because we have high unemployment rates here in Nigeria, and I'm sure it's also the same across Africa. So what we kept together to see what we can do to help young people begin to look inwards and see how they can develop, their potentials, their skills, so that they can become employers of labor and job creators instead of running about as job seekers. The story here in Nigeria, I don't want to go into that. If you announce a call for just one position, you see thousands and millions of people going for the same job. So, unfortunately, these days there are no jobs anywhere again, not even in the public sector, to talk of the private sector. So, what is the solution? The solution for us, we discovered, was to see how we can help young people turn their ideas into business ventures so that they can become employers of labor, just like I said. And so we started in 2018, and by the grace of God, it's been very, very, very amazing. The results are seriously amazing, and the impacts are there for everyone to see. Now, we have young people from the universities, young people, fresh graduates, and then those that are still undergraduates, coming up with amazing innovations, amazing business ideas that, after passing through our training and the grand competition, you see them going higher. Some of them have gone for international competitions and have won. As we speak now, we have one of our fellows. His name is Valentine Namane. As we speak, he's in Canada competing at the One Young World Conference in Canada, Montreal, Canada. He's there as we speak. Just a few months ago, the same Valentine, he was in Italy for another international competition while he was still a student. Before that one, he was in Cape Town to go and pitch for the African Union, European Union Innovation Festival, and he won the overall grand prize in that competition while he was still a student. Now, let me talk to you about another student, Ruth Ede. Ruth Ede joined the Ugumba Enterprise Challenge as a student in 2020. And even though she won the top prize, she has continued to win prizes every year. Last month, she won $20,000 from competing for one of another grant here in Nigeria. In 2022, she went to Denmark to compete for the global competition, Feed the Future initiative of the US government. And she came overall second prize. And imagine, the winner of the overall prize was a lecturer, a professor at that. But this lady that came the second overall was a student as at that time. She just graduated from the university. So I can count, thousands of these young people who have passed through this, who are today employers of labor. Last year, we estimated the number of young people that have been employed as a result of the impact of our work. We saw that over 20,000 Nigerian youths have been employed, because for every SME or every startup that we helped to set up, they needed at least one or two persons, to work with them. So we have made these young people employers of labor. So they are now helping to employ people who work with them. And as they are doing that, they are helping to reduce the high unemployment rate in Nigeria. They are helping to reduce the insecurity, the banditry, because when young people are gainfully employed, they don't get involved in social vices anymore. So they are helping us to reduce the rate of unemployment in the country, and they are as well supporting the economy and contributing to the overall GDP of Nigeria. As we speak, some of them are exporting their products across the country. Not across the country, beyond the country. I remember Biliki Sugarba. She is an architect. She turns non-bio waste into beautiful interior decors. In 2020, she won the overall prize, and we supported her and also connected her to opportunities in the US. And today she exports her products to the US. We have so many of them. So let me also talk about other projects that we do. And as we speak, the Ugumba Enterprise Challenge, which is one of our flagship programs, is at the seventh. We are at the 7th edition this year, and the call for application is already on. We're going to start the training, the boot camp. We're going to start on the 27th of this month. That's a few days away, because the application started over a month now. So we expect about 1,000 or 1,500 young people that will be trained in this year's Ugumba Enterprise Challenge, which is our program that we designed to promote innovations, job creation, and economic development in Nigeria. So that one is just one. And we have a project that we call the African Leadership Africa Students Leadership Academy. Fantastic. That one, we launched it last year, and this year we had it first edition last year, and we got it again this year between May and July. So what we want to achieve with this is, it is true that Africa is enormously blessed with both human and natural resources. But unfortunately, we have never gotten leadership. And that was why the late Professor Chinua Achebe said, the only thing there's nothing wrong with Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa. The only thing wrong with us is leadership. So how do we solve this leadership problem? We came up with what we call the African Students Leadership Academy. And with this program, we target students between 14 and 22 years across Africa. Then we had the second edition, like I said, between May and July this year. And it featured young people from across Africa. We had those from Ethiopia, from Ghana, from Sierra Leone, Rwanda, name them, Kenya, from across Africa. And we featured mentors from the USA, from the UK, from Canada, our partners that work with us, who spoke to them, and mentored them so that they can become good leaders when they grow up. Because that is the only way to solve the corruption problem that we have in Nigeria, the only way to solve the underdevelopment that we have in Nigeria, even in the midst of abundance. So that's what we are doing with young people. Then we also have what we call the Rebrand Nigeria campaign. That's what we want to achieve with that is we want to see how we can change the ugly narrative about Nigeria. The ugly narrative about Nigeria. Most times, if you go out and go in foreign countries and they see that you are in Nigeria, the way they treat you is different from the way they treat other nationals. And so we are saying, what is the problem? We have over 200 million Nigerians. We understand that just like in every other country, there are criminals. Then the same applies to Nigeria. We have criminals, so, and not all of us are criminals. Unfortunately, those that are criminals, they're not up to 1% of the total population of Nigeria. So why do they have to blanket the judgment, the blanket judgment, and call up for all of us criminals? Just because a few of us, in the minority, decided to go the other way, maybe become fraudulent and maybe try to make money any way they want, they find possible. So for us, we say it is not a good way of judging Nigerians. So that's why we launched this, to see how we can promote the good image of Nigeria, and also showcase, young people who are doing amazing things, contributing to both local and the international development, around the world. We have amazing scholars in the US, in the UK, in Europe, who are from Nigeria. So are they criminals? They are not. Even back home here, we have amazing people coming up with interesting innovations that are helping to change the world. Are they criminals? They are not. So you cannot blacklist Nigeria or Nigerians just because you encountered one fraudulent guy from Nigeria somewhere in Malaysia or somewhere in Thailand or somewhere in the US. So that is what we want to achieve with that. So we have a number of other programs. We have the Ugumba Women Academy. We have the one for we have the Ugumba Fund for Women. This is our microgrants program that is targeted at rural women, core rural women. Those of them that sell akara on the streets, in the villages, those of them that sell tomatoes, that carry their wares on their heads, those of them that need just small money, let me use that word, small money, to maybe increase and expand what they are doing so that they can take care of their families, and also build their business. So we started that in 2021, and by the grace of God, over 1,000 women have benefited as we speak. And last year, we adopted Association of Women Living with HIV and AIDS in Nigeria. We adopted them as beneficiaries of this Ugumba Fund for Women, which is our microgrants program. We decided to do that because if we are reaching out to women, who are in the rural areas, so how much more those who are impacted with HIV/AIDS, because of the stigmatization, a lot of things that they suffer. So we decided to also include them in this program so that they can benefit from our small grant program, to set up businesses that can sustain them and their families. I don't know if I still need to talk about others. There are so many other things we can talk about.
My first question has to do with your passion for youth development and job creation for young people in Nigeria and across Africa. So I'd like to understand, at what stage in your life that you got inspired to actually delve into this aspect of youth development and job creation across Africa?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Like I said, I served in government between 2014 and 2019. So the task I was assigned to do as the Director General of State Directorate for Employment was about designing job creation opportunities, programs that will create jobs for the young people, all aimed at reducing the rate of unemployment. So after doing that assignment in government, when we left government, so we saw the need to continue doing that. And before I left, I got involved in a number of entrepreneurship development programs, because you cannot create jobs for young people if you don't introduce entrepreneurship, self-employment, as part of your strategy. So in the course of my work in government, I now saw that this is a necessity, If we want to help young people create jobs for themselves, we must equip them with skills, entrepreneurship skills that they need. For example, ideation, they need to know how to uh, turn their ideas into a business. They need to decide what we call design thinking for innovation, how to also carry out a feasibility study of their business idea, customer acquisition, validity, pitching, especially pitching. Pitching now is very important because uh, even uh, after launching an idea, you need money to scale up. You need investors. So how do you get investors? You need to learn how to pitch, how to communicate your idea very well, before an investor or even a prospective partner, so that they can get involved in what they are doing. No matter how good your idea is, if you cannot pitch it, communicate it, discuss it with a prospective partner or an investor, you will never get any deal. Nobody will put money in your business that they don't understand very well. And nobody has time to work with you, to stay with you and hear everything that you need to talk about, or follow you to your farm, or follow you to your workshop, or to your business place. They can just grab what you are talking about by watching your video. Just 2 minutes video or 3 minutes video is enough to convince a prospective investor that this business is profitable, is innovative, and convince him to be part of it. They don't have time to follow you because a lot of other people are communicating and wanting to have their attention. So pitching is very important for every startup founder, for every young entrepreneur, because that is what you have to convince me to pick interest to listen to you more, or to have interest to request for your proposal, or to have your business plan. So now all of this, we started preparing young people with these skills, so that they can launch out their ideas and also raise money to build their businesses, so that at the long run, they become employers of labor, and then that will reduce unemployment, which is the overall objective of what we are doing.
Thank you very much for that explanation. That brings me to my second question. And you've been working with Ugumba Leadership Program as an executive director, and you've been able to help to start up over 5,000 businesses by young entrepreneurs across Nigeria and Africa. So I'd like to understand, specifically for Nigeria, what are some of the difficulties or challenges that you encounter while helping these young people, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Okay, the challenges are in two folds. Let me say that in two folds. First of all, number one, there's this challenge of convincing young people to come and learn, to come and acquire new skills. It's very funny. Sorry, it might sound funny, but that is the truth. Here in Nigeria and maybe elsewhere in Africa, I don't know exactly for other African countries, but here in Nigeria, we beg people to come and learn, new skills, to come and learn things that will benefit them. We beg them, no matter how much is the value of that training, until you attach financial reward to it, you can hardly find. You will be begging people to attend. That's what I'm trying to say. So we have seen that when we started, we even though training is an important and critical component of the Ugumba Enterprise Challenge program, we decided to introduce the grant competition, so that will be the attraction. And that is why it is working as we speak. If it were ordinary training, just come and learn how to do this, how to do that, you will hardly find people coming to learn. Now, the truth is that, let me give you an example. In 2021, our partner in the US, Power Indy, they organized the startup development program in partnership with us for young people in Nigeria, about 150 Nigerians. Now, do you know that the cost of that program was $250,000? That was the value of that program. Now, we selected about 120 or 150 young entrepreneurs in Nigeria to be part of that program. Now, this program featured training, facilitated by professors of entrepreneurship in University of Florida, Florida International University, Butler University in Indiana, and a number of other places, plus professionals, people who are professionals in the innovations and entrepreneurship. Now, but do you know that when this project started, we were practically begging young people to join the virtual training. You can imagine how much those people get paid to speak, to train. But this time, they got it for free. Someone else paid, an organization paid for the project, for the program. Then just for you to sign up at the scheduled time and learn what will benefit you, we were begging them to join the classes. That is one aspect. Now, the reason might be because the government has bastardized the word empowerment. So here, young people, what they see as empowerment is when government gathers them and shares money. When government gathers them and share 50,000 naira, 10,000 naira, give them bags of rice, they go home rejoicing. That is what they know as empowerment. But when you want to do training for them that is valued at $1,000, they won't accept it. You beg them to receive the training because there's no financial reward or there's nothing to take away from, to give them that they will go home with. If it's just knowledge, my brother, you beg them to come and receive that knowledge. Then another challenge is funding. Funding is a major challenge. That is the truth of the matter. If we have more funds, added to what we are doing or the resources that we have, we will be able to do more. For example, in our program, even if we have 1,000 participants, like we usually have, we cannot take care of the 1,000. We cannot fund the 1,000. So what we do is the 1,000 will go for the training, then we'll begin to screen down, based on the ideas, the profitability, and all of that. So we begin to screen down to a level that we can manage to about 20. Imagine from 1,000 to 20, so that those 20 we invite them to the final event, the grand finale, and then they receive grand prizes from us because we cannot take care of all of them. So if we have more money, more resources, maybe from government or other international organizations, it is possible that we can increase the number of beneficiaries, for every year we can increase to about 100 or even 50, so that the 50 of them will receive money that they can put into their businesses, and that will also help them to scale. But because we've not gotten the type of support we need, that's why every year we still try to manage with what they have. And by the grace of God, doing that, we have supported over 5,000 young people who are today employers of labor, like I have said. So, and again, apart from that, even after our program, you see some of them with fantastic ideas, they still struggle to raise money from investors so that they can grow beyond where they are. So what we give grants, just free money to help them launch up, like 2 million naira for the first prize, 1 million naira for the second prize, third prize 700,000, fourth prize 500, then the fifth prize 300,000. So those are not enough to see the business grow to become a unicorn, or to see the business employ 10 people who will be working with them. So there's still the next stage. The next stage is attract funding from investors, from venture capitalists, from bigger from investors who are interested in those businesses. Now, the truth is that the businesses that they have funded are fantastic. They also, we help them to become investment ready. But the problem is, where are the investors? Where are the investors who will be willing to put money in those businesses. For us, we can guarantee, that those businesses are going to perform. We can guarantee that they are going to survive. The truth is, where are the investors? So these are some of the things affecting them. Then for those that are farmers, talking about access to maybe to loans from the banks is unthinkable. If you are a farmer or a businessman and you want to go to the banks to raise money, you are even if someone says you are crazy, it's not mistaken, because getting a loan from the bank at 20 something percent is crazy. It's crazy. So those are incentives that are lacking, and we expect the government to begin to provide, so that to encourage the small businesses, to boom, and then begin to increase the economy, and also create jobs for other people, the young people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was like you. I think you kind of read my mind, because it was part of my next question. But again, I will still try to repose the question to you. That is, with your expertise in public governance and in leadership, what do you think governments across Africa need to put in place to support young entrepreneurs or young enterprises across the continent, so that we will be able to be self-sufficient continent?
Very good. Thank you so much. Just like I said, the government across Africa, in Nigeria, in Ethiopia, Rwanda, across Africa, they need to get involved in the SME development, or in the SME sector, maybe micro, small and medium sector. This is very important, because the SMEs, they contribute immensely to economic development in every nation, in every country. So the African continent is not an exception. They are the ones that help to employ the people that cannot get job in public offices. They're the ones that cannot get employed in big corporations. They're the ones that employ them. So that is why the government needs to get involved, because they are helping government to solve the problem that the government should have solved. The problem of unemployment. These young people who are building SMEs, they're the ones helping to solve the unemployment problem. So government should get involved by way of, providing incentives, as well as other enabling environment. There should be a loan program. I know that some of them exist. How far they have gone to support these SMEs is a question for the government to answer. So, but the government has to be intentional, set up a grant program or loan program that will help these young people and make it accessible to everyone, not based on your government connection. So that you can, so long as you have a business that you are running that is innovative, that is also feasible, that people can see, let them go and see, verify, and give you loan to do your business. That is what is needed urgently, so that the economy of these countries can improve, so that the unemployment rate can reduce. That is what needs to be done. Then the issue of power. For those that need power to operate, the manufacturers, no matter the scale, so long as they need power to operate, power needs to be, the cost of power should be reduced, and also should be available, so that they can increase production and then be able to, contribute to economic development. These are some of the issues that, the areas that I think government should help. The mainstay of the economy is the micro, small, and medium enterprises. Now, remember that the population of people in the rural areas are far more greater than those living in the cities combined. So now, if these people who are in the rural areas are not supported in their farms, maybe with fertilizers or inputs, all of them will abandon them and come to the city to live. And when they come to the city to live, that is how the social vices in the city will increase. That is how prostitution will increase. That is how, insecurity will increase. That is how armed robbery will increase, because they cannot find anything meaningful to do. That is how political targeting will also increase because they are available to be used by anyone to carry out whatever things that they want to do. So that is why these people are helping the government to carry out its obligations. So the government needs to support them. Yes, it's urgent, and that has to be done immediately.
From what you're speaking from the Nigerian context, I think that reflects the general reality to almost all African countries. Though I've not visited all African countries yet, but I think with the people I've been speaking to, everyone speak about government reluctance towards empowering young people. Funding is always a major challenge for young people get get in terms of starting up their own businesses. Even when there is young ideas by young people, but in order for them to be able to get funding for their businesses becomes problem. That brings me to my next question to you. Considering your academic background, you have MBA and MSc in leadership and governance. How do you think your academic background has helped you to transition or shift towards what you're doing right now?
Okay, good. Now, first of all, the executive MBA in startup entrepreneurship, they align perfectly with what I am doing as we speak. The Ugumba Leadership Center, like I said, our focus is on leadership development, entrepreneurship development, and community development. So the executive MBA gave me the opportunity to acquire more information and the new skills, on entrepreneurship and on leadership. So I am well positioned, to do more, in these sectors because of the knowledge that I have. So for example, in the MBA, we learned about venture capital funding or venture funding, customer acquisition. We learned about, so some of all of these things, are part of the work we did. We even took a look at case studies of businesses, that failed, and then we came up with ideas of what they should have done, not, to avert the failure of that business. So we had a number of case studies that we needed to review, and all of that. We also ended up with a capstone project, that with a business plan that is that we can implement if we choose to implement that with my team. We have a bankable business plan, capstone project that we ended up with at the executive MBA. We are talking about the public governance, the masters in public governance and leadership. Now, it's also in line with what I'm doing. Leadership. I said leadership, and then the public governance aspect has to do with government. How to, for example, we discuss public finance, budgeting, and all of those things. How government runs their projects. Talking about administration, reforms in government. So we took a holistic review of how best to run a government at any level. So all of those perfectly aligned with what I'm doing in both what I did in government, and maybe when I go back to government. So I'll be more positioned to or more equipped, to do better when I get back to government anytime it comes. So and then the leadership aspect is already what I'm doing at the Ugumba Leadership Center. Every day we implement one program or the other that is talking about entrepreneurship or leadership development for young people, for women, and for professionals in different sectors of the economy.
Thank you very much for that brief explanation. As we are coming to an end of the program, we have like 10, 15 minutes, and it feels like we just started the show 5 minutes ago. That brings me to my next question. You've helped many young Africans to connect them to international investment opportunities. And I'd like to understand what characteristics that you think young Africans need to compete for global investment opportunities. And how do you continue to guide some of the students that you've mentored to continue to be on a good track? Because mentorship, it comes with characteristics, attitude that someone needs to maintain in order to move forward. So
Yeah.
how do we ensure that the students you mentored are continuing on the right path and their businesses are businesses that are becoming sustainable and employable businesses?
Okay. Thank you so much. Like I have always said, um, if you want to succeed, you have to be intentional. Don't leave anything by chance. You have to be intentional. If you're looking for, if you want to connect with me, you have to be intentional. Go out and look for how to reach me. You don't sit down and wait for me to come to you. You have to be intentional in whatever you want to achieve. So that is what young people in Nigeria and across Africa need to start doing. Now, when you talk about becoming a professional or want to connect to business opportunities, the young people that we have engaged, most of them we force them to go to LinkedIn. We force them to create accounts on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, they are on Instagram, they are on Facebook, they are on TikTok. But what they do on those platforms, I don't know. Now, they leave professional platform like LinkedIn and they are busy TikToking, they are busy Instagramming and living where a platform where they can come in contact with professionals that can change their lives. We practically beg them to, please, do you have an account on LinkedIn? I don't have an account. Do you know about LinkedIn? Most of them do not know. So we force them and encourage them to create accounts on LinkedIn and become active. Because on LinkedIn, you come in contact with CEOs of corporations in the US, in the UK, who can change your life. Even though it's not easy to get their attention, but there are steps that you can take and you get their attention. By the time you begin to prove yourself, as someone that is serious, with what you post, with the things you comment about, with the things you do, you showcase them. So people will come on your DM and want to speak to you. They want to jump on a quick call with you. And I'm sure we met on LinkedIn. I can't remember where we met, but so that is the way things work. And again, there's something I have always said. I will not forget this. If you want to succeed, you must, first of all, discover what you are passionate about, what your passion is, and turn it into a business or build a business around it. That is the surest way to success. I have said this severally, and no one has disputed it. If you want to succeed in business, you must discover what you're passionate about and then build a business around it. If you talk and people laugh, even at home, in the midst of your siblings and your parents or in school, when you talk and people laugh, you should know that you are gifted in making people laugh. So turn it into a business. If you sing very well in the choir or wherever it is, and people love you singing, my dear brother or sister, you are gifted. Go and develop yourself so that you can become a musician, whatever you want to do and want to sing about. Go and do that. If you are good in writing, and when you write, people applaud you and say, "Oh, wonderful! I love this write-up. I love this." My dear, you're gifted in writing. Go and turn it to a business. Now, the truth is that because it is your passion, you love doing it. You get satisfaction from doing it. And it is something you can do whether they wake you up or not. Even if in your dream, you will do it excellently. When they wake you up, when you are asked to do it, you also do it perfectly. When you are about to sleep, if they ask you to hold on and do this, You do it very well because you love it. That is what will help you sustain it, whether you are making money or not. First of all, you love it. When you do it, you derive joy from doing it. So when money begins to come, it is secondary. And that is the highest way to succeed. When you do something you love and people pay you money to do it, you are enjoying two things. You are getting satisfied doing it, and you're also making money doing it. And that is why musicians, they are making a lot of money. They are enjoying it. They are also making money. Footballers, they are enjoying the football, the game. They are also getting paid doing it. So that's why they are making a lot of money. Today, comedians, for you to invite them to your show, I'm sure you know how much it will cost you to invite a popular comedian to just speak for 5 minutes. No, not up to 5 minutes. To just entertain the crowd for 2 minutes. You must be paying in millions of naira. For what? Just to crack jokes.
Thank you very much, sir. And I think we are coming to an end of the show. But before I take a leave of you, I'd like to ask you if there is something that I should have asked and I never asked. Maybe you can speak about that, or you have an upcoming program coming up. You can also talk about that so that people will get to know what Ugumba leadership is, not just in Nigeria, but other young Africans could be able to follow you up as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Like I said, our scope is Africa, but unfortunately, a few things are hindering us. In 2020, we wanted to go African, Pan-African, or whatever it is called. Wanted to do our enterprise challenge across Africa. But unfortunately, we saw when the COVID came, that idea or that plan was hindered because we needed the participants, those who made it to the finals, to appear in person for the physical pitching competition, because the physical pitching competition is critical for us. So we couldn't do that because of COVID that restricted movement. So since then, we have never come back to see how we can take the enterprise challenge to the African level. Because like I said, it will require the top finalists to come to Abuja or wherever we choose to be the grand finale. So, and the cost of bringing them is an issue for us because we only give our grants to those who win the event at the grand finale. We don't give people money in advance. So these are some of the challenges we are having, taking the Ugumba Enterprise Challenge across Africa. But the ones that we can do virtually, we are already doing. Like I told you, the African Students Leadership Academy is a virtual event that we do every year. And it has benefited students from different countries in Africa. We have people from Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, a lot of even Niger Republic, all of them joining for the African Students Leadership Academy. And as we speak today, we have appointed ambassadors, student ambassadors, that will help us reach more people, more of the students in their countries when we call for applications next year. It's an annual program. So we are going to do it next year. And then we expect more people from across Africa to benefit from it, because the mentors we gather, these are people that are paid $20,000 to speak for 30 minutes or for 1 hour in America. The likes of Dr. Karim Ellis, the likes of Dr. Anessa White, the likes of Chris Foss, the likes of Professor Remy Duye. These are professionals that get paid in thousands of dollars to speak for just 1 hour. Then we bring them to speak to our youth, to the young people in Africa, at no cost to them. So that's a wonderful privilege that they get, participating in this kind of program. So this one we can do across Africa, but the enterprise challenge, we cannot do that yet because of what is involved. If we open up, unless we do virtual pitching, but we don't want to do future pitching. If you don't mind, you can publish our social media handles here with the our social media handles, with your audience, so that they can follow us on social media, so that whenever we have anything that they can participate in, so that they can apply. As we speak, the Ugumba Enterprise Challenge, the 7th edition, is already ongoing. The application is on. It is on our website. It's also on our social media handles. So we are getting people that apply. But unfortunately, it's for only Nigerians, because at the end of the day, those who are selected for the for the final pitching, they will have to come to Abuja, where we will see them physically pitch before the audience, before VIPs, government officials, members of diplomatic corps, investors, and all of that, to enable us select the best that will win our grand prizes. So this one is only for Nigerians. I'm sorry, it's only for them.
Thank you so much. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a great pleasure to have you. And I'm going to put the link of your social handles in the description of this video, so that whoever watches the video will be able to go to the link and click the link to follow you on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, wherever your Ugumba Leadership's executive program is. They will be able to follow you. Before we go, I'd like to extend my appreciation to our guests, and I also encourage all of you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel, so that we'll help to build a community of young African leaders for the future. Thank you so much, and have a blessed day.